I have lived in China for more than 20 years, but I still cannot confidently say where I will be living a few years from now. I work as a music teacher, and as a foreigner in China, my life is closely connected to my job. Where I find work determines where I live, and when the job changes, my whole life may have to move with it. My wife and I have recently moved to Yiwu. It is the third Chinese city I have lived in during my 22 years here. You might say that 3 cities in 22 years is not a lot, and that is true. I lived in my previous 2 cities for many years, but living somewhere for a long time does not necessarily mean that you are able to put down roots there. I already understand that Yiwu may not be my final destination. Perhaps I will stay here for many years. Perhaps I will have to move again much sooner. And this creates a strange feeling. After more than 20 years in one country, I still live in some ways like a nomad. So in this video, I would like to talk about what this kind of life feels like, the freedom it gives you, the uncertainty it creates, the things you gain and lose by constantly moving, and whether it is possible to feel at home when you know that your life may eventually take you somewhere else. Yiwu is the third Chinese city I have moved to, but I understand that it is probably not going to be the last one. I have accepted that, and I have learned to live with it. I cannot confidently say that this is where I will remain for the rest of my life. Maybe I will stay here for 1 year, maybe 3 years, or perhaps much longer. At the moment, I simply do not know. Thinking constantly about another possible move in an uncertain future could easily make you feel uneasy. That is why I try not to think too far ahead. I have become used to living in the present moment, right here and right now. I try to enjoy the city I'm living in, build a life around the circumstances I have now, and avoid worrying too much about what may happen several years from today. That being said, you could probably say that I am a fairly positive and optimistic person. Maybe this is one of the reasons this lifestyle does not feel as frightening to me as it might to someone else. Let's begin with the positive side. Moving brings renewal. It brings new people, new places, and the feeling that life is still changing. It prevents me from feeling stuck in one place. For many people, staying in one city provides stability, and I completely understand why so many people want and need that stability. But for me, moving from one place to another, especially while living outside my own country, makes life much more interesting. It allows me to experience different parts of China, and China can feel very different from one city to another. People behave differently, the pace of life changes, the atmosphere changes, even the way people communicate can be very different because of the many different dialects spoken across China. The architecture also changes from place to place. Every city has its own appearance and its own visual character. Large cities can often feel dominated by concrete, glass and steel. Smaller cities may feel completely different. Yiwu, for example, is surrounded by beautiful hills and mountains. It gives me the feeling of living in a relatively small city surrounded by greenery and lush vegetation. After years of living in larger cities, being closer to nature feels refreshing. It is wonderful to experience this kind of environment for a change. Every move also gives you a chance to start again. You can change your routines, discover new places, meet different people, and perhaps even discover a slightly different version of yourself. But there's also a difficult side. Every move means rebuilding your daily life almost from the beginning. You need to figure out where to shop, where to buy things you regularly use, where to find good veterinary clinic for your pets, and which hospital or clinic you can trust yourself. You have to adapt to a new workplace, new colleagues, new rules, and a new daily routine. You also have to rebuild friendships, professional connections, and your sense of belonging. These things take time. When you have lived in one city for many years, life becomes automatic. You know where everything is, you know whom to call when you need help, you know which places you like and which ones you prefer to avoid. Then you move and suddenly even the simplest things require effort again. You might need to search for a new barber, a new repair shop, a new supermarket, a new place to walk your dog, or simply a cafe where you feel comfortable. None of these things is a serious problem by itself, but when they all happen at the same time, they remind you that you are starting from zero again. Can you relate to this? Please let me know in the comment section if you have to move a lot and how you feel about it. There is also another practical side to this lifestyle. When you know that you may have to move again, you cannot really allow yourself to accumulate too many possessions. Of course, this is easier said than done. People naturally accumulate things around them. We buy new books, new clothes, things for the house, equipment, decorations, and all kinds of small objects that slowly become part of our everyday life. We try to get rid of all things, but even then, with every move, we seem to take more with us than we did before. At first, your life may fit into a few suitcases, then after several years, you realize that you have boxes of books, kitchen equipment, clothes, furniture, electronics, and many other things that somehow became necessary. In a way, moving forces you to examine what you actually need. Many people have things sitting on a shelf in a wardrobe or in a storage room that they never use. They keep them because they think they might need them one day, even though they have not touched them in years. So getting rid of unnecessary possessions can be healthy. It can feel almost like sweeping the floor in a dusty room. You remove things that have been sitting there for too long and make space around you again. In that sense, moving can be cleansing. But there is another side to it. Whenever I think about buying something large, I also have to think about the next move. How difficult will it be to transport? Will it fit into the next apartment? Is it worth buying it if I may have to leave this city in a few years? This limits you. You may want to buy a large piece of furniture, more musical equipment, or something that would make the apartment feel more permanent. But somewhere in the back of your mind, you're already imagining how difficult it will be to pack and move later. So you're constantly caught between two desires, the desire to make your home comfortable and the desire to remain mobile. One of the hardest parts is that I cannot confidently say, this is where I'm going to stay. Every new home still feels temporary to some extent. You can decorate the apartment, establish routines, make friends, and become attached to the city, but you also know that another job offer, another contract, or change in circumstances may eventually take you somewhere else. At the same time, perhaps because I have become used to this lifestyle, it no longer feels entirely negative. I have learned not to measure the value of a place only by how long I will stay there. Even if I live somewhere for only a few years, those years are still part of my life. The friendships are still real. The experiences still matter. The memories do not become less valuable simply because I later move somewhere else. This brings me to another question. What does home mean to me after more than 20 years in China? For me, home is my family and my pets. It is actually very simple. We can create a home almost anywhere. The city may change, the apartment may change, and the workplace may change, but the most important thing is that we are together. Of course, a familiar city can feel like home. A favorite neighborhood, a familiar street, or even a local shop can become emotionally important. But when you live like this for a long time, you begin to understand that home does not always have to be one permanent geographical location. Sometimes home is simply the small world you build around the people and animals you love. that world can move with you. And this brings me to central question of this video. Is this freedom, or is it simply uncertainty that I have learned to live with? I'm not completely sure, but for me it feels more like freedom. It is a certain kind of freedom of choice. However, this time I did not actually have that much choice. Finding a job was difficult. There were not many offers that suited me, so the whole process was quite worrying. I could not simply choose any city I wanted and move there. But in other ways, I still think this lifestyle gives me freedom. Knowing that your skills, experience, and education may allow you to find a place somewhere else gives you a certain confidence. You understand that your life does not necessarily have to remain tied to one city or even one country. For example, you may decide that you want to move to another country. With the right qualifications and experience, you may be able to do that. However, choosing a specific city would be much more difficult. Let's take Thailand as an example. Bangkok is the economic center of the country. Many of the biggest schools are there, along with some of the most respected and best paid teaching jobs. But I'm also sure that the competition would be enormous, because many people would love to live in Thailand and earn a good salary. I can imagine that I might be able to find a job somewhere in Thailand, but probably not in Bangkok. And that saddens me a little. It means that you may have the freedom to choose a general direction, but not necessarily the exact destination. You may be able to choose the country, but the job market may choose the city for you. That is the reality, and once again, it is something I have become used to. And here is my question to you. Would you be able to live a life like this? I know that many Chinese people come from smaller cities or rural areas and move to larger cities to find work, earn money, find a partner, or pursue their career goals. Some people only return home once a year during the Spring Festival holiday, so people in China also live far away from the place they originally came from. But I still think their situation is different from mine, because I am a foreigner here. Even when you live far away from your hometown, China is still your country. You belong here. The language, the culture, and mentality are familiar to you. For me, it is not quite like that. Even after more than 20 years, I still sometimes feel like a guest here. I understand life in China much better than I did when I first arrived. Many things feel normal and familiar to me now, but there is still a difference between living somewhere for a very long time and feeling that the whole country unquestionably belongs to you. So my question is this: would you be able to live in another country, pursue your career goals, and move from city to city without even being completely certain that you can put down roots? If you like what I do, smash that heart button, thumbs up, and share this video to those who might be interested in this kind of content. Your support is invaluable to me. And of course, subscribe for more videos about life in China through a foreigner's perspective. Peace.